There we go. Hi, everybody. We're back for the season finale of Aliit by Beskar. Um, and yeah, last week went decently well. We've got captured the ISB agent, um, amazingly without murdering him. Um, Spent some time on Lethal, and we'll open up back there for a little bit, and then we'll head on to Endor to drop the prisoner off with the Rebel Alliance, and see what else happens. Before we jump into all that, though, I'm going to let everybody introduce themselves and their characters. So we'll start with the top left with V. Tell us a little bit about Anaka and yourself.
Hi, I'm Vanessa. I am an artist. I do primarily watercolor and pencil sketch, as well as some digital art. And if you'd like to take a look at any of my stuff, you can certainly do so. I have an art Twitter, which is at Peppero Draws, and that's Peppero like the candy. But I play Anaka, and she is a dark force using Togruta, with a bit of a secretive past that she has not let anybody in on yet. But it may or may not involve the Empire and wanting to get revenge on them for some reason. But we haven't quite got there yet. But yeah, she's kind of taken on this grumpy teenager persona, I guess, that the crew has given her for the meantime, just because it's more helpful, I guess, in a way, to just let them kind of think what they want about her instead of showing her hand already. I guess is the best way to put it. But last time we saw a little bit of that come out of her. She was having a good time and shown a lot of happy emotion. Almost killed an old lady for calling her a Jedi. It was great. Yeah, that's Anaka.
Awesome. Next we've got Nikki with Ilsa. Tell us a little bit about your character and yourself.
Ilsa is an actual moody teenager sometimes. She is a stormtrooper school dropout. Yeah. Who doesn't really talk a lot about her past, but you learn more as we go along, I guess. And she is getting some force abilities and trying to figure those out without making Anaka too angry. Or hurting her the people, I don't know the word, the other people that exist.
Friends, family, crewmates,
Colleagues.
Yes. Without slamming them into a floor several times or anything, if she can help it.
Those darn snakes.
They're freakishly strong snakes, man. Stooges, Jay says. Yeah. Awesome. And then what about yourself?
I don't exist.
Okay.
Are you a ghost? You have to tell us if you're a ghost.
Yeah, I am. I'm a force ghost.
Okay. Makes sense. All right. Then the next we've got Hope. Tell us a little bit about Muxo and yourself.
All right. Well, Muxo's a Mando. She is as if Leslie Hall and Ace Rimmer from Red Dwarf had 7 children, and she was the middle child. She grew up on a farm planet, and she just is not as cool as she thinks she is, but she's still very flamboyant and brightly colored. She wears a gold bodysuit like Leslie Hall's underneath her hot pink armor, and she's a bit of a daredevil, fairly fearless. She's gonna be apparently not the first one in this crew to run into danger, but all of her other experiences that was true. So that's who she is. I love her. I'm Hope. You can find me at Hope Tracy 71, and on Monday nights sometimes on Lady Sato's channel for Tales of Drippy, where I play a why not wild magic sorcerer.
Awesome. All right. Next we've got Matt. Tell us a little bit about Jai and yourself.
Hello, I'm Matt Hoadley. I'm a content creator of various stripes. Got to stretch my photography muscles a little bit this week. That was fun. And I play Jai Soren, the sweet summer child of Amando, who is frighteningly effective in combat when he wants to be, and is currently struggling with the whole cultural biases and other parts of adulting that he dislikes. He doesn't enjoy this process called growing up.
Yeah, that's fair.
Like hurting his friends' feelings by replacing them.
Captain lets me do whatever I want.
That's going to be a fun conversation.
Wow.
Fun. Next we've got Mr. Parr. Tell us a little bit about Zadu and yourself.
Screw me. I'm just a guy who exists on the internet. You see my name, Mr. Parr. There you go. That's it for me. Let's talk about Zadu. For the last time this season, we're going to talk about my buddy, the Twi'lek. You see, a long time ago, two Twi'leks desperately tried to escape an Imperial ship. Unfortunately, they were struck and crashed on the planet of Kashyyyk. The male surely died. The female's fate is uncertain. What happened to her? No one knows. But the baby they left behind, Zadu, was taken in by a family of Wookiees and raised as their own, his first found family. Then, when he grew to be a young man, he wanted to go out into space and experience more of life. He became a mercenary. He fell in with some Mandalorians, and they taught him their ways. His second found family. On a mission early on in this adventure, Zadu ended up going to the shop, looking to find himself a droid companion. There he saw one droidica, Locke, his third found family. So I guess you could say Zadu's something of a master of found families. What family will he find next?
Love that. That just leaves me. I'm Raven. I'm the creative director for the Raven Evermore, which is my brand for all the various things that I do, most of which are tabletop related. There's a link to my link tree in chat, and then if you're watching this later on the Fantasy Network, it's just linktr.ee/the Raven, like it's spelled below my face here. And then, I play everything else in the galaxy, including Kieran Law, who is a former Jedi who has sort of fallen in with this group. She's got some stuff she's working through. She's got some PTSD from being kidnapped by Sith and having bad things happen. And she's working through that. That's pretty much me and who I'm playing in this, as well as being the GM. Before we jump into everything, I did want to also mention sponsors, which is Fundamental RPG and Intrepid. So it looks like this. You can find your copy on Amazon if you want the printed version, or you can find a digital version at coffee.com/raven/shop. So just like it says in the bottom right-hand corner of the screen, just add /shop to the end of that. You can also find character sheets for it there, both form-fillable PDF and printable versions. But yeah, it's a D20 system. It's very simple and easy to use and flexible. You can run anything from sci-fi to high fantasy and everything in between. We're currently running 4 shows on that for next season. So it's pretty cool. Go check it out. And then at the same place, the coffee.com URL, you can find Intrepid, which is adventuring gear for real life. So casual, athletic, and outdoor wear. accessories and coffee mugs, water bottles, all kinds of cool stuff with a tabletop theme to them. So very cool stuff. Yeah, that's it for sponsors. So getting into the game itself, still on Lethal. Muxo, you said you were out kind of late.
Yeah.
Tell us a little bit about what Muxo
I love
does
that-
during that shopping trip.
Yeah, I love that Ilsa went to hide behind Muxo, but Muxo was not there. Yeah, so it took her a really long time to find what she was looking for in the shops around Lethal City. And about the time that she found this very particular item that she had in mind, this set of items that she had in mind, she gets a radio transmission from a certain sweet summer child about there being a new captain, Captain Roger, and having been frustrated by just how long it took to get this pretty thing that she just wanted for reasons, she didn't take it very well. And so she just headed out to find like a drinking establishment that has fun things in the back, like a warehouse space where you can play like space cornhole, like a simple game that like involves standing around a drink in one hand and kind of casually throwing something with the other, and you get worse at it the longer you do it because there's a drink in your hand.
Yeah. Yeah, there's definitely places like that on Lethal.
Yeah.
You'll be able to find something like that.
Yeah. So she's mostly just. I mean, she'd rather hang out with Mandos, obviously, but she'll take any company. That doesn't seem too iffy.
Yeah, it's mostly like farmers and like ranchers and people like that.
That's
that are
awesome.
at this location.
Yeah, great. We don't have to play this out if you don't want to. She can just get back later. I'm feeling around here.
Entirely up to you.
Okay.
If there's like
So
something specific that you want to like ask people there or something like that.
Mostly just looking to like establish like who's doing what, like get the gossip on what goes on in Lethal City.
Okay. For that, let's do a gather information roll.
Sure.
Let's see what you're able to find out.
Better treat me right this time, Dice. Tell you what.
20.
Oh wow.
Yeah,
for some
it's pretty
reason
good.
scrolled way up.
So with a 20 gather information, just asking around this bar and talking to people.
Bragging a little bit here and there.
Yeah. Lethal's a pretty peaceful planet. You probably have noted that there's like 0 Imperial presence here. And so people mention probably some rumors and mentions and little stories about how there was a Jedi that helped Lethal kind of get out of the grip of the Empire a number of years back. Not a whole lot interesting outside of that. Like current events are pretty boring. They're probably mostly talking about like a 1% tax increase on like cattle food or something like that.
Oh, that's rough. That's rough.
Like that's about the most dramatic thing that they talk about for current events.
How's a farmer even supposed to make a living when they just they just keep taking it right out of their pocket? It's terrible.
Yeah, you get about half a dozen people like start talking to you and griping about the same thing.
Any notable like geographic features that might be interesting to a group of adventurers who might get themselves into trouble and want someplace quiet to hang out?
Yeah, they do mention there's a bunch of like weird rock formations way outside the city that the Empire seemed pretty interested in at one point, but then they left it alone.
Okay, good to know. Good to know. Okay, so after a bunch of that, I imagine that Muxo doesn't win that much because I'm not rolling for it. Like I'm not.
Yeah, no, it's fine.
My dice rolls will only get worse if I try to do something fun.
I'm just laughing because I think Matt knows what I'm talking about.
I love not knowing, and I'm going to find out because I'm now making my way from the prequels up. So I finished Clone Wars.
Cool.
Yeah. I'm a much less angry person than I was when I was 25, I found. Weird.
Yeah, same. Oh, goodness.
Yeah, so I'll head back to the ship. It's probably pretty late. It takes a long time to gather that kind of information, especially when you're talking farming.
Oh, yeah, and it's definitely the type of people that are like, all right, well, I better go, and then like 2 hours later, they're still talking.
Yeah, one more match.
Yeah, one more thing before you go, like every time you go to leave, yeah.
Excellent. All right. Late in the night, Musa will stumble back to the ship and go to bed. She's going to deal with Jai in the morning.
All right. Jay put it pretty well in chat. Even in space, there's a Midwest goodbye. Yeah, exactly.
Musa was pretty sure that her planet invented it, so this is just like home.
I imagine this would be very similar to Muxo's home planet, actually.
Yeah.
That makes sense.
Yeah.
All right, we'll fast forward to the next morning then.
Yeah.
You're all, still on the ship. I assume nobody snuck out in the middle of the night to go do something. So what's happening on the ship? What's everybody doing when they wake up?
Jai grabs some sort of breakfast and then immediately heads back into the workshop. Pretty much against Muxo's request, he's still working on the Kipper. He recognized a drunk, angry person when he heard it, and was just like, nah. Just gonna keep working, it's fine.
Kieran's also in there tinkering with the lightsaber, by the way.
Okay. So
like
Elsa's
Captain
going to
Rogers.
make breakfast.
Oh, heck yes!
Since people are, I guess, after they're off, she's going to make breakfast.
Okay.
Like, I don't know,
Fantastic.
something good.
Oh, then as soon as Jai will have grabbed like a granola bar or something out of the ration box, but then as soon as he smells it, he's just like, Kieran, tools down, breakfast. Ilsa made it. Let's go.
Kieran just looks up from her tools, has grease on her face, and has 3 tools in her hands, and just looks up confused, what? Okay, and sets them down and slowly follows you with a confused look.
It's breakfast. It's important.
I suppose that is an important meal of the day. Okay. Yeah, she just follows you. Who else shows up at the breakfast table?
I mean, Musa keeps the door open because she likes hearing noise, so she'll hear breakfast being prepared, feel vaguely guilty about not having done it, but not too much. And kind of shuffle out there, and she's got a little parcel in her hands. She'll settle down at the table and kind of push it in Ilsa's direction.
Also say thank you, and she's making sure that there's plates and breakfast, and she sets everything up way too fancy for them to be.
Oh yeah, no, it's definitely a when you're ready. She's not going to stand in front of you insisting you open it in front of her. This is not how you do.
You know what? It's a good silverware too. She's really sucking up to everybody. So.
I'm now just imagining one of you in front of the brig, looking at the prisoner going, look what I have and you don't.
Actually, speaking of that,
yeah,
Zed'll eat breakfast at the brig.
Okay.
Is he going to have a tray, all the fancy stuff and the stacks of pancakes and bacon and all the good meat and everything in front of the prisoner?
We have those little collapsible TV trays for the living room. We have some of those.
Zod will grab an extra pancake.
Is he going to eat slow? That'll be good. Really enjoy yourself.
No.
Terrible.
No.
I think I think Jannar Fisk, your prisoner, has finally stopped, rocking back and forth, muttering about the Rancor. It is now just pouting and sulking in the corner of the room.
Reasonably, we're
He
terrible.
decided it has like plants and stuff, right? It's like because Ilsa's fancied everything up.
Yeah. Yeah.
Can they have just been painted onto the walls because we were all like, you're not putting real things in the brig?
It's almost better.
That's amazing. Sure. How about Anaka?
Yeah, I think she would mosey on out and grab something to eat.
Okay.
Jai will make room for Anaka at the breakfast table. Just like shove everyone else over so Anaka can have like the edge seat.
Perfect.
Is Kieran sitting at the table somewhere?
Yeah, I was gonna say probably opposite that seat.
Yeah, Anaka sits there.
Kieran looks at Jai specifically, sort of takes a deep breath, and then looks at Anaka and just waves at you, like a sort of awkward but still friendly smile and wave.
Anaka gives Kieran a smile, but it's not a "Hey, how's it going?" smile. It's a "How many of my sharp teeth can I fit into one smile?" And then just kind of like delicately puts food in her mouth, starts to eat.
That's
He
great.
does not have another cultural biasy speech in him. He really doesn't.
Yeah, no. Kieran just sort of like nods and is like, "Okay, I made my effort for the day," and just quietly eats her breakfast. So does Muxo talk to Jai during breakfast, or does that conversation come later?
Oh no, it waits until Jai goes back to his workspace so that he can show off still working on the Kipper, obviously. And because not everyone in the crew needs to overhear this conversation.
Fair enough.
I
How
appreciate that.
how quickly does Jai eat? Like just normally?
Oh, if this was actually like a comedy TV show, there would be a vacuum sound effect.
Okay.
Goku. You know how
Okay.
Goku eats?
Okay, yeah. Yep.
Like Jai would just shove a whole fish in his mouth.
Okay. Then yeah.
And he probably like just throws some extras into his helmet and carries it like a bucket back into the workshop.
That tracks. Okay, then yeah,
He's
you're definitely
he's a teen.
yeah, you're definitely in the hangar well before Kieran then. So Kieran won't be there if Muxo goes like immediately.
Yeah, Muxa will do that. She'll everybody knows this conversation's gonna happen, so whatever. It's gonna happen to Mandoa though, because that's important.
Okay.
Let's just assume that it's not like whatever common is in Star Wars.
Basic, I think is what they call it.
Basic, yes, it's not basic. Okay, so she just sort of hangs out,
I might be wrong.
watching.
No, you're right.
It's something like that.
Watching what Jai's up to. What is Jai up to?
Jai is this time Jai is like suspended from the ceiling on his rappel line and is like tack welding something on one of the top wing.
You think we should leave this the usual color for like stealthy, or like does it need paint?
Jai just kind of like swings around on the rope until he can kind of just see you upside down and just goes, "What if we gave Ilsa some ultraviolet goggles and then let her do ultraviolet paint? So it still looks black, but when you activate the filter, boom, color."
So what's this Captain Roger thing about? You upset about this thing?
He just like points with his lit welding torch to the workbench and just goes, "Robot head, I'm going to put wheel on it and arms and a big barrel, and it's gonna help me in the workshop. And his name's Captain Roger, because I think he deserved a promotion because he didn't fully explode when I blew him up.
You don't actually think he should be the captain. They were just
Oh,
teasing me, right?
God, no. Dad told me all about those B1s. They're idiots. One time, one of them drove a tank across a road, and like there was a Jedi there, but whatever. Screw them. And like the droid, like Jai's still upside down, like slowly, like forward swinging in a circle, and it's like, and like it just drove through like 5 ranks of other droids. They're idiots. No, he shouldn't be captain.
Like, I don't know if maybe you felt that you should have been first mate.
I am the best.
But here's the thing. You are pretty great. And like, especially in combat, like you're a scary shot. I really appreciate that. But Anaka being best friends with Anaka is, you know, she's going to betray us, right?
Jai's face loses all humor. Like, just immediately, like, all humor gone. Just goes, no, she will not.
She will. And I can't believe 100% that you would choose us.
I need to do an acrobatics check, Raven.
Okay.
And, like, this is mostly just to see if I can pull this off. Good. I'm going to call that a success. Jai just, like, brings his cutting torch up to the grapple line, burns through the grapple line, and backflips to the floor.
Mhm.
Like, no jetpack, just, and just goes, if that's what you think of our crew, then you don't deserve to be captain. Everyone here, lit torch still, not paying attention to that at all.
my God.
He's going to be down some hair at the end of this. Like,
Yeah.
Yeah.
everyone here, even the freaking not Jedi, the Anaka, Ilsa, Zadu, Locke. His hair's on fire by this point. It's gotta be. Even this new not Jedi person, Ilsa, all of us, we're family, Muxo. You don't betray family.
You think Anaka thinks we're family?
I don't care. I think she's family.
I understand, and I'm explaining that I know that you made a choice, and that's your choice, and this is the consequence, that I don't necessarily trust you. That's why I made that decision.
Jai turns off the cutting torch, tosses it to you, and says, fix your own damn ship, and walks out.
Oof.
Out of the ship.
Okay.
Jai's just gone. Like,
As a player, I think that's entirely a reasonable reaction on your part.
don't hit the family button.
Yep. Jai's very particular
Orphaned,
about
half-clone child. Don't hit the family button.
Right.
that. Okay. Does Muxo still hang out in there, or does Muxo leave the hangar?
She's perfectly comfortable working on her own damn ship anyway. Like, she is skilled.
Okay.
This wasn't her purpose in coming here. She'll leave it for a little while.
Okay.
This is how she resolves arguments. She just assumes people will get over it and come back, and it'll be fine. So she's gonna like just go check on things, do a pre-flight check, and if he doesn't come back for like a couple hours, she'll, I don't know, talk to somebody about it. I'm not sure. Come back to me.
All right. Because I was gonna say probably by that time Kieran would have walked back in and would have been like, "Oh, hey, awkward," because she's a not Jedi. I can feel that sort of like emotional tension in the air. So she'll probably be kind of awkward and look at
Mhm.
whoever is, within line of sight, and then quietly walk to the bench and start working on the lightsaber again.
Yeah, if she comes in while Muxo is just sort of like still looking out the door, Muxo will just give her sort of like a tight-lipped sort of this, this is a thing that happens. Nod and smile, and just kind of put her helmet back on unnecessarily because she's going back into the ship, and then go back and do pre-flight.
Okay. What's happening elsewhere on the ship while this is happening?
In happier news, Elsa's opening her gift after she clears off the table.
That's good. What's the gift, and what's Ilsa's reaction?
Oh yeah, it's those dodecahedrons. There's one that's metal, one that is bone, and one that's a stripy, pretty wood. So they're different weights and densities, but they're very similar designs. They're about hand-sized. They're clearly for you to practice with. And if there hadn't been a Jai emergency, if you're opening them then and she's going back toward the cockpit and sees you with them in your hands looking confused, which you probably are, she's going to say, you're still one of us though, right?
I was never not one
Sort
of us.
place of 49 flavors.
Sorry.
49 flavors.
I'm sorry.
49 flavors.
I'm not,
The
I'm
most
not giving you
flavors.
40 jelly beans, okay?
49.
Sorry.
Oh, that was just a
How about
fantastic
43 more?
I'm
moment for
not
that
giving
to
you
happen.
49.
43 more.
No, you're not getting 43 more. Go that way. I'm sorry.
You're good.
I got jelly bellies, and he keeps asking for them. So if he gets a
Oddly
few at a
specific
time.
Number.
Well, it says 49 flavors on the back of the bag.
Oh, I see.
So he wants all 49 flavors, and I'm not giving anybody 49 jelly beans at once. That's too many.
That's a good call.
But no, Ilsa will say that she was always one of them.
And Muxo will just like tap on her breastplate and keep walking.
Muxo's going to get a very nice thank you note, like written on nice paper, and probably too nice of a paper for a stormtrooper school dropout to have, but it'll be really, really nice thank you note because a really nice thank you for a gift.
Love that. And then Anaka and or Zadu, anything of interest that you're doing at this moment before we move on?
The purser?
Yeah, he's pretty much just sort of pouting and sulking in the corner, unless you talk to him directly.
Hello, friend.
He just sort of glares at you and says, "Hi." I don't know that I wouldn't say that we're friends.
I mean, compared to everyone else on the ship, I might as well be your friend.
That's fair. He kind of looks down.
Oh, I just came to see how you are. How are you getting along?
Well, I've been captured. I'm stuck in the brig, and you're taking me to someone who no doubt will either kill me or imprison me forever. So, about as well as you could expect.
Yeah, that's rough, buddy. Either way, I only came here really for one question. as I remember, you talked about leaving your family behind, was it? And that they had died? I wonder, my friend, is that true?
He kind of looks confused for a moment and goes, "What the? Oh, that. Oh, no, that was a lie."
I suspected as much. I still wanted to know, though. Because,
Just sort of
that
shrugs
actually,
and nods. Like, fair
that
enough.
actually has happened. That actually has happened to me, so.
He kind of looks at you and pretty much with that same level of sincerity as your "that's rough, buddy" says it right back to you.
It really is. It really is quite unfortunate, the galaxy and all that. Anyway. It is so unfortunate, though, that it wasn't true. Zadu hasn't eaten breakfast by this point, but we'll sit down, pull up his plate, and proceed to enjoy it. Very thoroughly, very slowly, for 30 minutes.
Yeah, you hear his stomach grumble, but he does a pretty good job of not saying anything or, looking like he's hungry. Probably goes into some rant about when you say how unfortunate the galaxy is. Probably some rant about how it used to be a lot more orderly before the rebels caused all these problems, and goes on the whole Imperial propaganda rant essentially.
Yeah, Zadu just chimes in while he's saying that, yeah, troublesome rebels. This bacon, though, quite good. My favorite cheese as well. It's so homemade. When's the last time you had homemade cooking?
Not the cheese.
Not the cheese.
Again with the space cheese.
Yep. Yeah, he just looks very cranky. And
yeah.
I don't know, a couple days ago.
You should hold on to that memory.
He's getting even more and more just sulky and cranky and, pretty sure he's going to start flipping you off here pretty soon.
That's okay. By the time Zadu finishes the meal, he's got that one pancake on a side plate. He picks it up. I am just so full, my friend. You know what? I think you sat here the whole time. You were very you're very patient with me. So here you go. And Zadu puts the plate down right outside the door, but doesn't open it.
So
go ahead and take it.
Okay.
And then he walks away.
Just gonna be alone real quick.
Does the brig have one of those doors where you can reach through and grab food? Or is this just left outside the solid door that he can't get to?
I think that's a Jai question.
I have no idea what the brig is like.
Thank you.
It's funnier if it's just a solid door.
Okay. Thanks so much, Michael, for the gifting that tier 1 sub to V. V, you can do 2d6 or give advantage to a player if you'd like.
Thanks, Michael. I didn't notice, but thank you. The D6s, because we can always use those.
Fantastic. All right. Okay. And then is Anaka doing anything during all this?
I feel like Anaka is such a boring person to travel with. Perhaps later down the road we'll see more exciting things from her in the form of actually interacting with people. But for now, no, she's not doing anything.
Okay, so it's pretty much Zadu's taunting the prisoner. Jai is being angry and working on stuff, and Muxo's doing the Jai conversation and talking to Ilsa. Ilsa's writing thank you notes, and then we pan over to Anaka
Anaka's
and
taking a
angry
nap.
brooding.
Jai
Or a
has-
nap,
Jai has run off. And
you
after
left, like,
about an hour of not coming back,
you left the whole ship. I thought you left the fighter ship.
Oh no, Jai walked out of the entire ship.
yeah,
I misunderstood that. Okay, interesting.
yeah.
Okay.
After
Jai
an hour,
said, "See you later."
Muxa will try communicating with him and be like, it's about time to go. Are you coming?
Busy signal.
At that point,
Which is impressive, given that it's a radio.
Jai's on another call right now.
I love it. I love it.
Amazing.
Oh no.
Busy signal.
Your call is very important to the not team that you've made very angry.
Oh, wait another hour. Okay. I don't know who to send after him. The person I chose in favor instead of him. Ilsa, who's just like, who's probably like, I don't know what I'm supposed to do, or the person I shit talked to him. Like, what the hell am I supposed to do? And I'm fucked up.
You made your bed. Now lie in it.
Oh.
I think given Jai's argument, Muxo will choose to talk to Zadu because of the family bit there.
Okay.
I mean, yeah. So Muxo will approach Zadu after about 2 hours. So Jai and I had an argument, and he's not going to listen to me about coming back to the ship. Can you find him?
He left?
Yeah, I feel like you're best suited to this because it was an argument about family, and you're very dedicated to extended views of family, whereas I am not so much.
How long's he been gone?
About 2 hours. We need to get going.
Zadu looks at you like you kicked a dog in front of him. Locke, come with me! And he just heads out.
Oh, goodness. Okay. Yeah, Locke's just rolling along behind you, asking, do we get to kill people, Master?
Potentially.
It's always eventually. It's never now.
Of course not. What is life without, a little patience?
Why does
life
that have
without-
the same energy as always a bridesmaid, never a bride?
I don't know.
Zadu will raise Jai on comms as he heads out. If he can.
Still busy signal, but it's not going to be hard to find Jai.
Okay.
Let's go.
Where is Jai?
So if you've seen Rebels, you know that just outside Lothal City, which is a stupid name for a city, but boy, Star Wars has its brand.
Yeah.
There is a weird old weather tower.
Oh, yeah, I know what you're talking about.
It's where Ezra lived until he found his family. It's still there around this time period. So Jai asked around a couple people and went out there, has his dad's on his helmet comlink, and is doing extremely long-range target practice off to the hills away from the city. So anyone that's looking will just see this occasional just really bright blue blaster bolt flying from this tower out to the hill every so often.
All right. Where you are probably still has some old, early Imperial era helmets and things scattered around.
Oh yeah, Jai will have set a few of those up on the hills and then jetpacked back. that's a big part of why this has taken several hours. Is like, one, he had to get a hold of his dads, and they're working, so
Yeah.
you know. But also targets. He did do
I'm
like
sort of-
a hand scrawled note, just like set up in the tower to whoever lived here. This is like, sorry about your helmets, I owe you.
I love that. I'm also imagining the conversation with the dads being something like, you know, you're expressing your feelings, and you're like, they said, "What? Hold on, son." You know.
Oh yeah,
Sounds
no,
going
it's
on.
the
What was
the
that?
Maz, it's the Maz Kanata scene from Last Jedi, where they're just like, hey, we need a thief, and she's in the middle of like a massive firefight. It's
Yeah.
literally just that.
Perfect.
Like his dads are storming some warehouse somewhere, and he's just like doing pot shots and getting advice on growing up.
I love that.
Is Jai telling them that the argument was over a dark side user?
Why does that matter? Like that's literally Jai's thought. Like it doesn't matter
That's fair.
to him. It wouldn't actually matter to most Mandos.
I think it'd matter more that it was just a Force user in general.
That would matter more. Dark side, no, but just like, I have adopted this crew. They are my crew.
Yeah.
Don't step on my family.
All right.
So that's where Jai's at. So it will not be hard to find Jai.
Okay.
He also probably didn't turn off his like Find Me app, so really anyone in the friend group could just like ping it.
Just pull up the Where's My Jai app.
Oh God, that exists. Oh, his dads both have that. Probably a
Perfect.
couple of uncles. Oh God, Bevan probably has that.
You're probably right. Oh goodness.
Thanks, I
So,
hate it.
so
Is this the
Zadu-
Star Wars equivalent of having a leash on your child?
Yep.
It wasn't even set up by his dad's. It was set up by his mom. Like his biological mom set this up. It was just like, oh yeah, BT dubs. Oh,
Oh, love that.
mothers.
Dude,
Oh,
Where's My
boy.
Jai?
Oh,
All right, so Zadu. Yeah, you're able to find Jai without too much of an issue. How do you approach this tower?
hold on. I think I could probably provide you with a visual reference.
Hmm?
1 second.
I will wait for visual contact then.
Dip-a-dip-a-doo. We're gonna post this in the Discord and in chat. There's the Discord.
Oh, what?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, it's just there's like a lift inside of that goes to the top. I assume. Anything else doesn't really make sense.
Yeah.
You're in this tower? Sorry.
I'm at the top. There's like a walkway up there.
Excuse me. I imagine you could also just jetpack to the top.
Oh yeah.
I think Zadu will sort of set off the flamethrower into the air like a little signal,
Okay.
you know, because he's entering a sniper zone.
Smart. What does Jai do?
The shots stop, and Jai just kind of like raises. You can see Jai like raise the rifle up. It's like basically going to safety, but that's the only reaction. So he's still talking.
It's not Muxa.
Yeah, you hear like a crackle of sound. Just like, hold on, Dad, 1 second. What?
It's not Muxa.
Yeah, I know. You have Locke with you.
Locke just waves a blaster arm like back and forth very robotically.
Hi, Locke.
Hi.
One second. Yes, it's a droid to cut. No, I'm not shooting it, Dad. Shut up.
Are you killing things? Can I kill things too?
My dads are. I'm shooting rocks and helmets.
But that's boring.
Yes, it's practice.
All right, humans have to practice.
all the time. It feels like. What do y'all want?
Came to check on you. I was worried.
So Muxo sent you.
I mean, you knew she wasn't coming herself.
Well, yeah. Jai will end the call with his dads and then basically just jet jump down to y'all. And just like switching the blaster back over to normal mode as he approaches.
Okay.
What happened between you two?
She stepped on the wrong nerve.
You want to talk about what nerve that was? You don't have to, of course.
Do you trust everyone on the ship? Except for the prisoner. Obviously.
I want to trust everyone on the ship. Huh. So that's okay. No, I don't trust everyone on the ship.
Jai, like helmeted, fully armed, like Jai, looks offended.
I didn't say I didn't trust you.
No, but crew, it's. Is it Anaka? Do you also not trust Anaka?
I trust few people completely.
Damn, tough crowd.
But
I mean, hey, Vanessa, you made your bed.
Oh, Jai is taking this harder than I am. So.
Oh no, I know.
Still
You
like the
created
only
this
one.
scene, Vanessa. This is your doing.
Oh, I didn't do anything.
I love it.
I didn't prompt Muxo to go shit talk me. That happened. I am a victim.
You said you sound really hurt.
So Jazz is like, okay, I get that. Like, yeah, people are people everywhere, and people kind of suck sometimes. But like, if it was you and her, like in a room against a bad guy, would you trust her not to stab you in the back?
me and Anaka, I believe that situation's already happened, so as long as our goals somewhat align, sure. For the record, I don't trust Kieran completely either.
Oh yeah, she's a recovering Jedi. She's trying.
Put that.
She's still a recovering Jedi trying. Okay.
I mean, in fairness, the one time that we saw her in combat did not go well. So
That's true. It went really well, and then it went really bad.
I think perhaps in the future I may be able to trust Anaka. Right now, this is a level of trust. We travel with her.
yeah, like you're not just like planning on her to betray us at the drop of a hat, though, right? Like if it happens, you'll deal with it. That's just pragmatism, but you're not like planning for it.
Zato looks a little worried that you're saying that. No.
Yeah, Muxo is.
Oh. Huh.
You don't step on family like that, not unless they earn it.
Hmm. Well, Jai, don't worry too much about what Muxo thinks, because the family that you choose is the family you choose. It can run deeper than blood. So if you've decided that Anaka is your family, no one can take that away from you.
Till unless she demonstrates otherwise.
I don't think she will. I think out of all of us, the only cracks in her armor have come out around you, Jai, so I think you're fine.
Well, I am good at breaking armor.
Yes, you were very good at breaking armor, Jai.
Do you remember when I shot that guy through his eyeball?
It's truly hard for me to forget, to be honest.
That was a
It's on my
good
mind.
day. You know what? I agree with your robot buddy. We should go find someone to shoot.
Okay, keep that sniper aimed at the ground, please.
Locke
It's-
is literally like swaying back and forth like a crab. Like an excited crab just swaying back and forth. To kill people? Yeah.
Oh. Wait, you call Locke a robot thing? Let's talk
Robot
about
buddy.
that really quick.
Is he not?
No, he has a name.
Oh, yeah, I'm sorry. Yeah, you're right. I'm sorry. Your murder son, Locke.
Murderson, yes. See?
Yeah.
Like Anaka is your family, Locke is my family.
He's very good at what he does.
Yes, he is. Aren't you, Locke?
Locke just nods and of course is still blinking with the offset blinking that's very just disconcerting looking. And it goes, yes, I'm very good at what I do. And of course, I have decided that I will not kill any of you. Unless you try to kill me. And then it's fair game.
That would be an interesting day.
But I will kill
Well-
everyone else. Eventually.
I bet you will.
Ah, you say the damnedest things, Locke.
Ah, kids. What are you gonna do?
Murder kids.
We should go drop off that jerk. And then see about that, like, wasn't there another bounty? Do we need another bounty?
Oh, was this the last one?
There is one more that you had on your information. What you call it? It was the smuggler. It was the easiest job category.
Was he dead or alive?
I believe that one was alive. This one was dead or alive.
All right, well, let's go drop off our prisoner. Then we find the smuggler, and hopefully he has a bunch of friends. Because then you two can murder.
Ooh, I wonder if he has a ship we could steal.
Potentially. I mean, the smuggler must have a good ship.
Nice.
Hope it's one of those big ones.
Ooh. We could
Maybe
put
try.
our ship that houses little ships inside of a bigger ship.
You're gonna have to learn how to fly a goddamn ship.
I
You know how to pilot.
try. I'm just not good at it like you three are. I have a +7 in piloting. I'm fine.
And now I'm just picturing like nesting dolls of ships.
They what's the thing called? But yeah,
Yeah, there's
right,
a
sure.
there's a name for it. I just can't think of what it is.
Some dolls you like take them apart.
Yeah.
Perhaps I forget.
They are called matryoshka dolls.
Yes.
That's it.
Nice. We just
Like
had that
those,
except it's a
but it's
ship.
ships.
Matryoshka ship.
The Matryoshka fleet, absolutely. Oh, that's such a good name. It's like one ship jumps into the system and then like 2 come out of that, and then 4 come out of those, and then 4 more come out of each one of those, and suddenly you're overwhelmed.
Okay, so
That
Elsa
actually
going
would
to
be
decorate each of
amazing.
them. Is she going to like paint them different colors?
Of course.
We have our own fleets.
All right. Well, we've got our goal for next season.
Oh, a fleet and a hideout was always a goal.
Yeah.
All
Even though
cottage
It's like a very
work.
specific
Use the
kind of
hideout.
fleet. Yeah.
That's why I want the big ship.
All right. So
Yeah,
do you,
I think
do you head back
probably-
to the ship?
Yeah, we'll probably wander back.
When they get back, Muxo is in fact working on the Kipper.
Okay. Could I get
Because
an
she
athletics
can.
roll for that?
Yeah. Jai needs to not forget that she can do her own damn thing. Ooh,
Although it would be really funny if you get a super low roll.
oh, absolutely. That's the kind of bullshit that happens when you try to show off.
Yeah.
I think 31's
31.
okay.
Yeah. No, you're doing a fantastic job.
I'm all rested up. I haven't had to do any of this in forever.
As Zadu and Jai, when you get back to the ship, shortly after you step in, there's a small, like, not quite explosion sound, but like electrical discharge sound, followed by a string of cursing and Huttese coming from the workbench.
Jai just pokes his head in.
And Kira just sort of gives you a sheepish smile and waves.
Don't break my tools.
She's like, no, the tools are fine. And she holds up her hand, and it's just like covered in like carbon scoring, but it's like not damaged, but like the cartoon when something explodes and there's just like, you know, the black scorch marks everywhere.
There are gloves in the drawer.
Thanks.
And Jai's going to not walk into the bay and go sit in the gun turret. Probably take a nap.
All right. Well, with everybody back on the ship, I assume you'll want to take off at as soon as you can. So unless there's any objections, I will launch you all into hyperspace, headed towards Endor. If there's anything that you would like to do on the way there, we can. Otherwise, we'll just Starfield montage that and put you on Endor.
That sounds good to me. Yeah.
Okay.
I'm assuming that Muxo could have finished working on the Kipper by then, because that was the amount of time it was going to take Jai.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah. So the Kipper will be completed by then.
Question: did Elsa's shields ever get fixed?
That was part of the payment, yeah.
Okay. I didn't know if they got
That happened
fixed.
first, actually.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yours was
Uh,
easy. That was just plug in a new one and go.
So I think the only thing that's in there that's not actually fixed is the A-wing.
Yeah. That's next.
Oh.
It's clean now, is what it is.
Yeah.
That's what's happened to the A-Wing. It's clean.
All right. Well, then, yeah, there's the proximity little alarm that goes off as you're going through hyperspace, letting you know that you're coming up on a planet. You're able to, exit hyperspace and get into orbit around Endor, which the area looks a little bit different than the end of Return of the Jedi, obviously. There's not a giant space station orbiting the planet or the moon. It's now a debris field. So there's lots of debris, big hunks of metal and things. And you can probably see a few pieces of the Death Star on the forest moon, your destination, that are visible from space. And probably some sections of the forest that have just been like burned off. So you can notice some patches where there's just like forest missing on the surface. And then, yeah, there's probably... No, there wouldn't be buoys. So you're going to have to either navigate this debris field on your own or try to hail someone to give you an escort.
We're gonna navigate it on our own, obviously.
Of course. In which case, I need pilot checks from anyone that is piloting or co-piloting in the cockpit.
Yeah, 29.
29.
Do I need a force point?
No. I was just waiting to see if anybody else was also helping. But 29.
Well, apparently Zadu isn't flying with me anymore, so I'm going to offend everybody on this ship by the end of this finale.
I mean, it seems you got it handled, you know?
Ilsa will help you. She doesn't know what's going on here.
Oh, goodness. Okay. So, yeah, 29, 25. Ilsa, you're kind of able to act as like the spotter. So kind of track the trajectory of pieces of metal that are moving and update Muxo as Muxo's flying.
Who absolutely dodges more dramatically than she needs to for effect because it's fun.
Of course. And yeah, you're able to navigate this debris field with really no problem. Anybody that's looking out any windows or anything can see probably bits of Imperial equipment. So probably notice like some like TIE fighters and AT-ATs and things like that are obviously, you know, totaled, but they're still floating in space. So some things that would be recognizable. Anaka and Ilsa, could I have you roll Use the Force? $29 and...
That's a nat 20 for me.
Oh, fantastic.
It's the first time that's happened using the force for me.
Okay. So we'll start with Anaka then, because that'll be the less detail. V, has Anaka ever been around, like in the past? Was she ever around the Emperor at all?
Ooh, good question.
Or Vader, for that matter.
I think Vader would probably have been more probable than the Emperor.
Okay. And you probably feel that it feels just slightly familiar. Not really a presence, but more of like an aura in the area. And what you got? You got a 24. Would you like to use a force point or a d6?
Yeah. Let me check and see how many force points I have.
All right. Currently got 8 d6 that you can use.
I have 3 force points.
It's definitely not like a have to, but you'll get a little bit more information if you use one.
Okay, I'll use my force points first. I'm sure if we get into a spat, then using D6s won't be a problem. So I'll just roll my own first.
Okay.
A 5, so it's 29.
29. Okay. So yeah, you feel that sort of familiar, almost like an aura, kind of the sensation of like Vader was here, and the big thing happened with Vader here. And then you also feel a very like, wow, what's the word? What's the opposite of benevolent? I'm drawing a blank.
Malevolent.
Thank you, malevolent. God,
3 years of Latin.
words are weird. I will remember random stuff and then forget common words. Malevolent presence. It's not like you could pinpoint where it is. It doesn't even feel like it really is in a single space.
Yeah.
But it definitely gives you the heebie-jeebies around here.
Okay.
And then Ilsa with that nat 20, the 29, you essentially get a force vision of what happens at the end of Return of the Jedi. Like the whole lightsaber duel between Luke and Vader. You can kind of see that. And you see all those events unfold and Vader throw the Emperor, into the reactor and all that jazz. And you get the sense that Palpatine didn't really completely go away. And you get that same sort of malevolent sensation in the area. So kind of feeling like Palpatine's not alive, but also it still feels like he's here.
Okay.
You're good.
Well, and they get this as they're approaching the Endor.
Yeah, this is while you're kind of navigating through the debris field of the Death Star.
Okay, that's not gonna because she's gonna watch the whole vision thing and kind of be shocked because that's not exactly what you expect to see.
Yeah, and it's not like you zone out for that entire length of time. It's like you experience the whole length of time of the thing, but it only took a second for it to actually happen.
Okay.
Not
Um.
not 5, not 6.
No, you get 5. Okay, go that way, please. Get off the camera, please. I don't want you on the camera. Sorry. Please get.
No worries.
Somebody likes sitting on camera. Please exit.
But yeah, that's really all that happens. Is that while you're piloting through, unless Ilsa wants to say something or react to it.
She's gonna ask Anaka if she knows about the battle. Can she privately talk to her, or?
Yeah, I imagine you can do private comms.
Yeah, because she's not so sure about telling everybody all the Jedi visions. You cannot. Oh my God. Okay, no more jelly beans. It's like a giant handful. Like a big handful.
Kids are a mess.
Because okay, yeah, she's like, Anaka, I just saw this battle, and she'll just go over it with her. I'm sorry, my mind's a little bit split right now because of.
I totally get it. So what's Anaka have to say about that?
Another good question. How detailed would Anaka have knowledge on this whole thing?
About as much as anybody else in the galaxy, I would imagine. Maybe a little bit more information if you've had, say, some force visions or something like that while meditating, if you've really thought on the topic a lot, but not anything super specific or detailed.
Yeah, in that case, Anaka would probably just give a very brief explanation of what she knows, of kind of the general knowledge of the situation, to Ilsa. Just I don't think she probably would have had any sort of force vision or anything like that. I don't think it's something that she would have gone out of her way to gain more information on, per se. So yeah, she just kind of gives her the basic rundown.
Okay. Well, once that exchange has happened and everything, you're able to get through the debris field just fine. And once you're through the field, that's when a couple of X-Wings sort of show up almost out of nowhere and are flanking you and asking you, while politely, very sternly, why you're there.
We're making a delivery.
And they ask you what you're delivering.
Muxa will mute for a moment and be like, Zaddy, do you have a contact? I need details.
It probably was like a passphrase or something like that.
Oh, okay. Muxa
along
will
with
say
it.
the pass. Yeah. If Zadu gives her the passphrase, she'll say it.
Oh my god, you're right, Vicky. Why is the ship name Imperial Mode here? I don't think you all ever switched it over.
Oh yeah, no. Once I had it switched back over after that last Imperial mission because our
Okay.
cover was blown.
Okay.
Yeah, let's not be that ship name anywhere near anybody Imperial.
Okay. There's a pause where they basically say, stand by. You tell they're talking to somebody else, and they come back and they say, all right, follow us. And they escort you down into there's sort of a landing area. It's just a giant clearing in the middle of the woods. And they allow you to land. Who all is everyone leaving the ship for this, or how do you want to
Kieran's not leaving,
go out to meet
is
them?
she?
Also would leave.
Kieran might. I hadn't really thought about it.
Okay. I mean, it's up
She
to
doesn't
her.
really have an issue with the Rebel Alliance. It's just with the Jedi.
Okay, yeah, okay.
Anaka has learned her lesson very quickly that absolute batshit crazy things happen with this crew wherever they go. So if she doesn't go with them, she's gonna miss out on something probably. So she's gonna go.
Yep.
All right. Yeah, I think Karen will probably stay on the ship and keep working on the lightsaber.
Yeah, okay. So we roll out. With our
Jai
prisoner.
is staying on the ship unless something starts going wrong.
Okay.
Wow.
All
I
right.
think,
Well then.
I think I'll just clap the prisoner on the back and be like, well, buddy, I hope you enjoyed your time here.
It was wonderful, he says very dryly.
Don't worry. Maybe I'll visit you. Leave you another pancake. Zada turns around and walks back on the ship.
He just gives you the dirtiest look. But yeah, the pilots hop out of their X-Wings and they do have blasters drawn, but they're not pointed at you, they're pointed at the ground.
Yeah.
And they say, all right, if you'll bring the prisoner this way, we'll escort you to the base and we'll get you paid.
Sure. Just roughly poke him in the back.
Okay. So they're sort of at the front on either side of whoever's leading your group. You've got the prisoner, I assume, probably somewhere in the middle of you all.
Yeah.
And we've got Anaka, Ilsa, Muxo, and Zadu going. Is that right? Zadu staying on the ship as well?
No, Zadu.
Okay.
Be
Just
careful,
some of the ladies.
Muxo. Be careful, Muxo. If we walk into here, Anaka might pull something on your back, bro. I'm kidding. I promise she's not going to betray you guys here. That's not the intention. It was a joke.
I
love it.
It's great. Yeah, no. It's totally
Okay.
fine.
All right.
I just don't know how to respond to that.
I mean, it would probably be fine. You're wearing Beskar, so, the chances of it going poorly very quickly are on the lower side, I would assume. So it's fine. Don't worry about it.
Oh my god.
Though really, like, are we okay though?
I think so.
I assume we both
Yes.
like drama. Okay.
Sorry, it took me a minute. I have a peanut butter sandwich in my mouth, but yes,
Oh,
it's
no.
fine.
Ilsa's fine. She doesn't know what's going on.
Yeah, okay.
So yeah, they escort you through Endor, and as you're moving along, you can hear, the sounds of the forest. Probably hear some Ewok sounds here and there. If you're looking particularly carefully, you might see a couple of big eyes sort of poking out from behind a tree or a log or things like that. And probably a couple of broken and abandoned ATSTs here and there. And they escort you to something. It's not obviously not the same shield bunker that got blown up in Return of the Jedi, but it's a bunker that looks a lot like that. And before they open the doors, I think that's a good spot to take a break. So we'll go on a 15-minute break, let everybody grab some food or water, stretch their legs and everything, and then we'll be right back. We'll find out what happens in the bunker. So, yeah, we'll be right back. back. Sorry about that. Technical difficulties. Let me shuffle some folks around. Looks like the camera switched a little bit. There we go. So, when we left off, you were right outside the bunker. On Endor, the pilots had escorted you and the prisoner. We've got Anaka, Muxo, and Ilsa, and that's it, right? Who was going with the prisoner?
Yep.
Okay.
Almost all the ladies.
All right. So the door is open, and inside is a gruff-looking Rebel Alliance general who invites you in, and you can see inside. It looks like just a tiny little bunker like door on the outside, but as soon as you get in, the place is huge. It's like a big warehouse. Excuse me. And there's rebels running around doing stuff, a bunch of like computer banks and things like that.
Rebel words.
Damn it. Yes.
I'm gonna do it every time I get a chance.
Rebel words. And with that, I need everybody to make a perception check as you enter this place.
Regular, or can I use my force perception?
I mean, you can, but it won't really help with what you're potentially going to see. Because it's not a living thing that I'm seeing if you notice.
Okay, I can do the regular.
Okay, 17, 16, and then Anaka.
One second.
Excuse me, goodness. Okay.
Should I add a d6? Or is that okay?
You don't have to. It's not really anything important.
Okay.
It's just sort of a do you notice or do you not? I think Muxo might just barely notice. It looks like they've got a lot of random pieces of metal. Looks like wreckage of something that they seem to be researching.
Mm-hmm.
But before you really have time to look into it too much, you're kind of whisked off to another room. A bunch of rebel soldiers do take your prisoner and roughly sort of shove him towards a different direction. But the general takes you to a room that's pretty nice. It's got some comfortable chairs, and kind of sits you down and asks if there was anything with the prisoner when you captured him. Kind of asks how everything went down, and just generally wants to know details about your mission.
He had a base of some kind on naming the planet we were on. He had a droid with him that we quickly dispatched. It was your usual capture. He somewhat integrated himself in the community there, but they weren't terribly fond of him.
He kind of nods, and just as I see, so there wasn't, you didn't have any sort of computer or data cylinder with him or anything like that?
We didn't find one on him, but we also didn't search the surroundings terribly carefully. I can give you the coordinates of his base if you like.
The general nods and says, yes, that would be great. And he slides across basically one of those like credit chips that you can load different amounts onto. I'm trying to remember how much this job was supposed to pay.
50,000.
50,000. Okay. Yeah, it has that on there. Excuse me. And he passes across another one with 1,000 for the coordinates to where you found him.
Yeah, Muxo calls them up on her tablet, her ARM tablet.
Okay.
And it sort of transmits that there's a little bit of a map, updated with the tree being whipped around.
Love that. Yeah, he just nods in appreciation and says, well, this is pretty good work. Have you all ever thought about joining the fight against the Empire?
You know, we dabble occasionally.
And he kind of goes into the recruitment speech for, how the Rebel Alliance could use some good fighters and et cetera, et cetera.
Naka immediately looks like she's zoned out. Like just eyes glazed, head empties, no thoughts, just no thank you.
After he starts like sounding like he's on a script, Muxa will just raise her hand up and be like, "We have a contact. We're all set."
Ilsa was listening.
Okay.
But I think Muso's going to stop the whole speech and try this. He's not going to listen to the whole thing.
I mean, she has reasons for wanting this other contact to give them directions. So, you know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, yeah, Muso would just sort of cut him off and be like, "We have the same goals. We're coming from different directions. But thank you."
Okay. He eventually does back off. But yeah, pretty much like an army recruiter. That's the whole spiel.
If you need some chaos and we're in the area, let us know.
So that conversation takes a little bit of time. But you've got your credits. You've dropped off your prisoner. Back on the ship, is anybody on the bridge of the ship?
Once everybody left, yes, Jai will drop down and go like kick up in one of the chairs there, like boots on the console, the whole works. Probably working on building a new identity for our Imperial Mode transponder.
Okay. Could I get a perception check from you?
Sure can. 22.
22. Okay. No reason, but how happy are you with that 22?
As in, should I throw some D6s at it?
Who's to say?
You know what? Well, there's a 23, and there's a 28.
Okay. Awesome. Hey, thanks, Hope, for redeeming that advantage. Is that for Jai?
Yes.
Oh.
Okay.
I'll use that for the
We
next
love
one.
the
Whatever it happens to me happens.
Okay. Let me move that over here.
Nikki. We love the Empire. I love that.
It's a fantastic name for the ship.
We could paint some little hearts on the side too.
Imperial hooray!
Imperial hooray!
Oh, I see. Sister ship of the Imperial Mode.
Yeah, it's like they came out of the same factory.
God, we're so good at this.
We're the best at this. What is Jai about to be stabbed with?
Okay, so 28. Randomly, Anaka shows up with a lightsaber and just stabs you in the back. No, I'm kidding.
Listen, Jai is the last one on this crew that I would do that to.
She better get it right on the first try.
I'm totally kidding. But you do hear a little beep from your radar kind of console thing. And you can see that several ships are coming out of hyperspace just above the planet.
Do I recognize any of the, like, do our sensors ping back anything that we have seen and is logged before?
They're on the other side of the debris field, so your ship's sensors are actually having a hard time identifying them.
All right, so it was Ilsa and Muxo and Anaka that went in, right?
Mm-hmm.
Jai gets on his helmet and just goes, Anaka, just a heads up. And this is on an open line, but he's addressing it to Anaka. Anaka, heads up. How many ships was it?
There's, as you're talking, more and more are coming out of hyperspace. It looks like a small fleet.
There's a fleet dropping out of hyperspace on the far side of the debris field. Hey, Zadu, you want to come tag out here and get our ship all ready for launch, and I'll go up to the gun turret just in case we have to run away real fast?
Sure.
Kieran,
Okay.
is she on our comms? Have we given her comms yet?
I don't think so. You
No,
can probably
we just
calm down
use the
to
intercom.
Oh, yeah.
I was gonna
So
say, you
Jai
probably
will then
just-
push
just
the
do the
intercom
intercom.
button and just go, Kieran, there's a fleet coming out of hyperspace. You might just want to strap in. Just in case.
There's a pause.
He like stops, puts it back. Not to worry or anything, but just in case.
There's a pause as Kieran has to go, to where the button is to push it. and you just hear this exasperated, "I'm sorry, there's a what coming out of where?"
a fleet coming out of hyperspace. It's a region of subspace just below real space. It's what ships travel through. That blue tunnely thing. He's now being a butt to everyone.
Yeah. You just hear on the other end, Jai. But it's very, very sweet sounding voice. Jai.
Hello.
That's the voice of a lady who's not going to be putting up with any bullshit. Tell you that.
We're having a good day here on the ship. It's great.
Don't ever mansplain something to me again, or bad things will happen. And the comm clicks off.
Judge is like audibly, like his teeth click shut. He's...
As you do that, a lot of like levers and dials and things on the bridge just activate seemingly on their own, and the ship's going through pre-flight.
So he did do this on open comms, yeah?
Oh yeah. Our entire crew heard most of that.
Yeah, we're running. He's going to be hearing boots thudding on the ground very soon.
Oh, good. As soon as Zadu has moved into the cockpit, like Jai is climbing the turret.
Okay.
Yeah.
Pausing
Musa
there.
just abruptly gets up from the table. She's not even saying goodbye. She's like, got some trouble. See you in the sky, and runs.
Okay. As I say, yeah.
Finger guns.
We'll pause there and hop back to the bunker.
Yep.
Where you're able to relay that right at about the time that people are starting to freak out. There's like alarms going and people are running up to the general and telling him the same information.
Yep.
And Anaka and Ilsa, are you also just like getting up and running out the door as fast as you possibly can?
Yes, why not? I don't want to be left behind. I
Alright.
swear to God, you guys are the only people that I run for. This is exhausting.
I love that. How about Ilsa?
So she could
Sorry,
either
something
have a
in my throat.
seat in one of the comfortable chairs and listen to the recruitment speech. Since she wasn't included in that whole thing, Jai.
As a sweetheart, I don't think there's going to be a recruitment speech at this point.
There's not, but she'll probably follow along because she considers the crew her family, her space
Oh my
family.
God.
Unlike some people.
Just the amount of underhanded barbs this session has been delightful.
I was just trying to get one in on Muxo. I'm sorry. I should have included Ilsa in the snub.
All of
Just completely forgot about her, but it's okay.
Jai's just going to be in timeout for the rest of the fight, I guess.
Jai's like, I have a message that is exclusive. Oh my goodness, English. I have a message that is exclusively for my best friend, and that's it. No one else.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. Jay just said, y'all make Animus look well adjusted.
Oh,
no.
absolutely. Absolutely.
Oof.
The difference with Animus is that nobody is expecting each other to stab each other in the back yet.
Animus set a bar. I'm a big fan. And I decided to jump over it.
There's some bars we don't have to beat.
Ilsa's not going to stab anybody in the back, okay? She's just going to...
She's just going to blame a snake.
Exactly.
Anyways.
That was an accident.
So how about them pork chops? Am I right?
Yep. So as you start
Spacious.
running out,
Spacious.
Yes. She's running.
before you even get out the door, there is a loud, sort of banging sound, almost like that mortar sound effect. You know, the like whistle and explosion. Kind of like that, but more of a laser sound than a whistle sound. And the ground shakes, and a bunch of like bits of ceiling and stuff. Not like big enough to actually hurt you, but just small bits of ceiling start falling.
The ceiling starts dusting, and Anaka looks from side to side, and in a slightly louder than speaking voice tone goes, "Somebody should take a look at that."
And then once you get out the door, you can see there are turbo laser blasts coming from orbit
Yeah.
that are peppering the ground. So it's a pretty epic, movie-like scene where you're running to get back to your ship, and there's turbo laser blast just hitting the ground to the right and left of you. Trees are falling over, and all kinds of crazy stuff like that. But you are able to make it back to your ship.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Mukto sees that things are already moving in the cockpit, and she goes immediately back to the Kipper and launches it with herself in it.
I assume so.
If there's someone else who wants to scramble in before she closes the door, that's fine, but she's not waiting.
Okay.
She needs to make this be able to dodge those lasers. Can't do
Yeah.
that in the cargo bay.
Could I get a pilot check?
Yeah. I love this. I will use it next.
What was that?
I said if I flub this, I will use a destiny point. I think I might need to.
So are we running or are we
Would
fighting?
a force point be enough, you think?
I mean, a 20 is enough to get you out of the cargo bay.
Okay, I'll save it for when I'm actually dodging things.
Okay. So yeah, you were running and you've been able to make it to the ship. So you can hop into one of your TIE Defenders if you would like,
Mhm.
or you can stay on the bigger ship. Entirely up to you all.
I guess a TIE Defender, because it's more fun.
Big ship for me,
Fair.
please.
Or Zadu, I'll head back to his tie.
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah.
Then I guess it's Jai will just yell down from the gunnery turret and be like, Anaka? Kieran? Who's flying us out of here?
Oddly enough, as you yell that, what's the new name of the ship?
Oh,
The Imperial Hooray. Of
no,
course.
that's the
We have it
Imperial
written
mode. We
on
haven't
the-
actually turned that on.
Simulon Senar.
There it is.
Okay. The ship, it starts to take off. Not like launching straight into space. It's giving everybody, level launching pad essentially to get the defenders out. But as soon as the last defender is out, it takes off into space. And after that, you see Kieran running down the hallway below the gunner's turret.
Someone's gonna have to tell Mukso that Kieran can fly with us. With somebody else.
Jai's just gonna go like, what? Okay.
Yeah, Kieran just yells out, "I got it, don't worry." Yes, I do need pilot rolls from everyone who's taking off with the defender. I'm sorry.
Can I
did you
redeem
have
another
destiny points?
advantage?
Maybe use that destiny point.
I mean, yes, technically you can redeem advantages, but destiny point would also make that a crit.
Yeah, that's true.
Oh
Or you
my
do have a crit
goodness.
available on the board from viewer actions if you'd like to use that one. Either way.
Oh my gosh.
Or you can take the one and it'll be a really interesting story.
You know what?
Jai likes
Uh-oh.
fixing things, right?
I'm going to take the one because Ilsa's kind of, she's not quite. I said.
Uh-oh, he froze.
Wait.
Oh no.
So, oh, there's some movement. It froze again though. We'll come back to Ilsa. So a 19. It's a real rough takeoff, but you're able to get out of the bay. Hey, there you are. Hey, Zoom froze. So you want to?
Yeah, it kicked me off. It kicked me off.
Oh no. So you said Ilsa will take the one because
It's
Ilsa something.
Yeah, she was in a mood, so why not?
Okay.
Well, I mean, from the whole vision thing, and then, yeah, so a 1. Chaos.
Let's see how bad it is. Okay, not horrible. I rolled an 11. Yeah, we're just gonna do this. You mix up forward and reverse, and just launch straight back from inside the ship. There's just this loud, sickening sort of crunch of metal, and there's now a really big dent in the back wall of the hangar.
The
There's a bunch of
bathroom
crates
is-
and oh no.
I
bathroom
just
might be out of order for a while.
just fixed that.
A bunch of crates and tools and things are all knocked over. There's a new
If you
dent
look
in
at the map,
A-wing.
that is where the bathroom is.
Oh no.
Oh god.
Oh.
So yeah, you haven't quite taken off, and the ship is starting to go off into space. You can try again. It's just gonna be a little trickier to leave because the ship's actively flying now.
I'm going to try again because that was embarrassing. That was very embarrassing.
Your ship's definitely gonna need a paint job as well.
Yeah.
After that.
Oh, please be a better roll. Oh my gosh, a 12. So one higher.
Would you like to use a D6 or force points or anything like that, or a destiny point or a crit? There's
No.
options.
No.
There's so many options. There's so many.
So many options.
Nikki woke up today and chose violence. What on earth?
It's just apparently that kind of day for this whole crew.
No, I'm just gonna have her like sobbing in her TIE fighter.
Oh no.
Ilsa, are you okay?
Like one of the wings just got stuck, and so you try to move forward. It's just this loud screeching sound.
Hey, Anaka, can you check on Ilsa, please? That sounded bad.
Yeah, I think Anaka's probably gonna go check.
Okay.
Sounds like a lot of crunchiness. I don't know if that's safe.
She's not dead or anything. She's just.
Yeah, Naka, as you run down there, there's like a one of the solar panel wings that's just blocking the entrance into the hangar from this defender being just like smacked into the back wall.
Oh my.
The hangar is a complete mess.
Anaka calls out to Ilsa and asks if you are okay.
There's mostly some unintelligible something about the button got reversed. And something about the Empire's attacking and the buttons got reversed.
Anaka mutters under her breath, which may or may not be something not too polite and Togruti. But she's like, maybe you should come down from there and come back up into the ship a little bit.
Should I try parking it again?
You know what? Just turn it off. Just turn it. You don't have to do a thing. Just turn it off.
Okay, so well, she'll like turn it off, but you'll hear her like, I don't know. Is there like a bad way to turn it off?
In this position, probably just turning it off is bad.
Yeah.
But like she has a break or something on, and she, you just hear it turn off really badly.
It's probably got like the little repulsor lift thing that are on, so it's not quite landed on the floor, and so when you turn it off, it just drops.
Yes, that.
Anaka's like pinching the bridge of her nose.
It also walks off of her TIE fighter. She's got like Gusei in her arm, and she just looks upset.
Oh.
Anaka's like, you took the. You know what? Never mind. Let's go.
Oh god. Okay. Pausing there, going back to Zadu and Muxo. You've made it out of the hangar. And you're flying through the atmosphere. Is there anything that you're particularly trying to notice about your surroundings, or any maneuvers you're trying to do, or direction that you're trying to go?
Dodging big fucking lasers and looking for the best place to hit real big. Basically strategizing. But
Okay.
yeah.
Are you still in the atmosphere, or are you going into space?
There are no ships in the atmosphere currently, yeah?
Correct.
The only way to stop this is to get up into space.
Pretty much, yeah. Well, I mean, I wouldn't recommend trying to take on an entire fleet by yourselves, but you're certainly welcome to try.
No.
We got
But
destiny points. Let's go. Season
distract
finale.
so that the big ship can get out.
Okay.
So I'm just assuming our ship is a target.
Okay.
Muxo is assuming our ship is a target because they're moving out. And so she's going to rush in and at least like get a nearby ship to, fuck around and find out.
All right, so space then. Let me get a perception roll from you.
That's
15.
not great. I'll pop a force point on that.
All right.
I'm not sure like how much it's gonna help, but it's better
19,
than
it's a little better.
Yeah.
Yeah. As you look through the cockpit of your TIE Defender, you can see that a Imperial class Star Destroyer, so the big ones, has essentially acted as a plow, and is just pushing through this debris very slowly, creating a path for the other ships to follow. And it is the one that is currently firing these big heavy turbo laser barrages at the planet, or the moon. There are smaller ships behind it, but it's what's causing the damage right now.
Is there anything coming up behind us from the planet?
Not quite yet. What'd you get? A 19? Yeah, you don't notice anything coming from the planet.
Okay. I'm gonna do a quick engage and run. This isn't my fight, but it's courteous.
So you're gonna engage the Imperial Star Destroyer with your TIE Defender.
No. I'm gonna engage a smaller ship, so it's like
Okay. Just making sure.
Basically, just like
I was gonna say, are you sure?
Just no. I'm sure I'm not going to do that.
Okay.
But like, I'm not sticking around to the bloody end because this place isn't gonna last. But I would like to help these people who, we're kind of on the same side. Get a few more people off the
Okay.
moon.
then I will let you take your pick. There are a number of smaller ships. There's a lot of Victory class Star Destroyers, which are still very large and dangerous, but not nearly as bad as the Imperial class. There's a couple of those heavy cruisers that you've seen before. It's the one that you ran away from on whatever planet that was. I can't remember now.
Mantel? Or Nar Shaddaa?
Oh, yeah, Nar Shaddaa, that's what it was, yeah.
Okay.
And there are...
It's not the exact one, is it?
Probably not.
Okay.
Actually, no. No, it's not.
Okay.
Definitively, it's not. So there's some of those, and there are also a bunch of TIE bombers and TIE fighters and things like that coming out of all of these things.
Okay. Yeah, what the hell, whatever's closest. Just proton torpedoes.
Okay.
Neither one of those is my fandom, so I don't care who I've just offended.
I never really thought about it, that the proton and photon is just like one letter off.
Yeah. Now, if we're talking
Okay.
bazookoids. Okay, so...
So, Photon, love that.
So I need to go get the High Defender character sheet, which is right
Yeah.
here. Great.
So I rolled a 4, so I'm going to say that you're going after some of the TIE fighters.
Okay.
Froyoton.
So I just hit this attack roll button? Okay,
Yeah.
I don't have any modifiers from my piloting, right?
No.
Okay.
So 17, I'm not going to do like super in-depth combat on it because we'd be here all night for the scale of battle. So I'm just going to say, yeah, that's a decent attack. You take out a couple of TIE fighters and you get like a wave of TIE fighters chasing you now.
Fantastic. I love it.
Zadu, what is your plan of attack here?
That's max damage.
Oh, Zada doesn't attack. He sort of flies next to the ship like he's escorting it. If that makes sense.
Okay. Yeah.
And he hasn't done any changes to his TIE Defender, so it should look sort of Imperial.
Absolutely. Yeah, it looks just like when you stole it.
Yeah, so he kind of just looks like, hopefully, a Imperial ship escorting I don't know, merchant ship. Who knows?
Okay. Okay, cool. Kieran is flying the larger ship just into space, and kind of calls up to Jai and also, I guess, wherever Anaka is, and says, so I'm a really good pilot, and we don't want to go into that. Where do you want me to go?
Naka's just like, gee, you don't say.
Jai's just gonna pop onto the line and just like open channel the whole squad. Go, Anaka, get one of the comm links out of the workbench for pilot. Muxo, planet. Pick a planet. Where are we going? We're running. Pick a planet.
She names a planet.
Okay.
Not her home. Be clear about that one.
Tatooine, maybe?
Sure.
That seems like a place you would all immediately think to go.
Well, yeah, because the Kipper's back in action, so we can go do that other thing. That's about as much trouble as this. So I don't know where we're running from this, but we're just gonna go run into another battle that's just like this one.
All right. Then in that case, I need a pilot check from Muxo. A pilot. either pilot or deception check from Zadu. I'll let you choose which skill you want to use for that. Jai, are you shooting anything?
If anything comes within range, I will absolutely blow it up.
Okay.
But that's not. I'm not seeking out targets. It really is. If it comes within range, I will shoot it.
Okay.
Yeah, Muso is going to continue shooting while she flies, but she's not particularly concerned if she hits anything.
Okay.
Okay.
Anaka, are you doing anything?
Let's do.
She gets that comms link for Kieran.
Okay. Kieran puts that on. And then is Ilsa doing anything?
Ilsa's trying to compose herself.
Okay. Fair.
She was like sobbing a lot, especially after she realized she crashed the ship before she could get out of.
I do want to note that when Muso replies to Jai, her tone is jovial. This is fun.
Okay.
Yep.
All right. So with the 22, yeah, you do a fairly convincing job of looking like an Imperial escort. And Kieran is sort of flying towards the fleet because there's really no other option. It's either towards the fleet or be on the moon. And that's going to put you pretty close to the Imperial Star Destroyer for everybody in the big ship. So Jai, do you shoot at that? Or
No.
Okay.
That's like throwing pebbles at a battleship. No, thank you.
Okay. I'm just double checking.
No, that's sorry. Let me rephrase that. Jai will shoot if anything comes getting all menacing towards us.
Okay.
Or if when this situation takes a really bad nosedive here in a second, which I assume it's going to.
Yeah, most everything has been ignoring you, for the most part. All the bombarding, it seems to be hitting the moon itself.
But I still have a bunch of ships following me.
Yeah, you've got a bunch of TIE fighters following you and trying to shoot you down. And some of the Victory Star Destroyers are getting in range now, and they're also starting to shoot at the moon. Excuse me, goodness. Everything's pretty much leaving you alone for the most part. Though as you get closer to the Imperial Star Destroyer, you do have a hail on the comms. Kieran looks at that, pauses for a moment, goes, I shouldn't answer this, and reroutes it to the gun turret for Jai.
Awesome. Audio only. Jai will push the button. Yes. Hello.
On the other end, you hear a very well-spoken, feminine voice, with the quality of I can't think of the voice actress's name, but she does the voice of Urza for Fairy Tale and the Armstrong lady from Full Metal Alchemist, I believe. So like that quality of voice, like a little bit of a deeper feminine voice. And it sounds cold enough to freeze water if she spoke at it. And it just says, those ships look familiar. Where did you get those?
I'm sorry, may I ask who's calling? Our lines are currently busy. Oh, and may I ask who's calling? Our operators are currently busy.
Are you wanting this to work or just wanting to tick them off?
I actually would like to know who this is, and Jai is just being a butt today.
Okay.
Apparently.
If you're actually wanting it to work, it'd be deception, but if you're just trying to tick them off, then you don't have to roll.
No, I'll roll. I do want to know. I have a guess, but I can't act on it if I don't actually know.
Fair.
If you'd like to tick them off, you've already succeeded. No roll necessary.
That's just Jai being Jai. We're good with that. Come on. 18.
Yeah, she doesn't buy it.
No,
but she
of course
does give
not.
you.
But
She does give you her name.
Ooh.
So this is Grand Admiral Dala. Who is this who's about to die?
Jai mutes the comms, gets onto our shipwright things like, folks, we need to be prepared to jump into hyperspace literally right now. This is Dala, and I'm about to piss her off. Everyone get a jump ready. We gotta go. Someone give me a countdown.
You hear Kieran yelling, not over the comms, but just down the hallway. Why are we pissing her off?
Because we're paid to, Kieran.
Send her regards from Admiral Pell.
That was my plan. I'm gonna be really good. I did so good last time.
Oh, do you need me to be Imperial for you?
Oh my God, yes. Okay. Piloting people, get ready to jump into hyperspace. Give us a countdown on our private comms. Ilsa, get to a computer terminal real fast. I'm gonna redirect her to you.
Raven, I want to shoot something big before we go into hyperdrive.
You've got as long as it takes to really piss off a Grand Admiral with a Star Destroyer.
When Jai says that, Muso turns to not the big ship, but a bigger ship and shoots it. And then gets ready to go into hyperdrive.
So Jai goes back onto the main comm line to Dala and just goes, hold for Admiral Pell's executive assistant, please. And then transfers it to Ilsa.
Okay.
Nikki, oh my God, use everything we have. Please,
Okay.
God.
Yes. Oh, I am.
Absolutely. Before that happens, though, just real quick, Kieran does calm just Jai specifically and says, there's a lot of debris and we're still in a gravity well. We can't jump to hyperspace yet. We have to get past them first.
Jai is in his very calm voice, which I feel like everyone on the crew would know is probably a bad sign, but she doesn't know that yet. It's just very calm. It just goes, well, if you want to live past today, I suggest you do something about it. How can I help? With a gun.
Clear me a path out of here.
Done.
All right.
Ilsa, buy us time.
Okay, Ilsa's going to sign on and she's going to sound like she's going to turn on this full Imperial, graduated from the academy. Her family is super suck up to the Emperor ways voice.
So much.
She's going to be like, why are you bothering me?
Oh yeah.
The voice on the other end, just sort of like a, I'm sorry.
And what is your
rude of
name?
me to have bothered you.
What is your name?
This is Grand Admiral Dala.
Excuse me. Did you go through the proper channels for this?
You just hear like this like low growling on the other end. She's like, I am the proper channels for this. Where did you get those ships? Is Pell here? You tell him to get his skinny ass out here and talk to me.
That is not the appropriate tone to talk to someone of my station.
You just hear like the equivalent of somebody like covering the phone poorly. Do you have a lock yet?
Basically, Ilsa's like, she's acting like she's, you know how people will promote their kids.
Yeah.
So she's somebody's promoted kid.
Oh my gosh.
She's like, well, if you harm one hair on me, I want to tell. She's going to name some high-ranking admiral she's heard of, which you've done. Like,
okay.
And I have these are my ships now; they're not yours. And Pell and blah blah, Pell said this and that. Pell is the best.
Oh my god.
We love Pell.
Team Pell! Team Pell!
Okay.
And
This
Pell
feels
bought
a
me
lot like-
puppy for Christmas.
This feels a lot like last night when you, Raven, were like, yeah, we're gonna set the room on fire.
Yep. I have lost the will to live, and so none of you get to live either.
Jai's like listening to this conversation and just like whispers to Ilsa over the team con, be like, mention the fact that Pel's really mad that she blew up his droid base and this is retaliation. That'll piss them all off. It'll be great.
Yeah, and my was it Uncle Pel? I don't know. Said that you blew up his face and blah blah blah. And
Absolutely, Uncle Pel. Oh my god.
Oh my god.
And like
Yeah.
Ilsa like knows Imperial speak, so I don't know Imperial speak, but she's great at it.
Okay. You
She
do a
sounds
really
really
good
bratty
job.
and snobby.
Yeah, you do a really good job of making this woman with a ridiculous amount of power and a very short temper extremely angry.
Hey Raven, that's a real high number you rolled there.
Yeah, it is.
Oh.
That's a
Oh,
that's
no.
a real high number you rolled there, and I have
Yep.
concerns.
You should.
I'm sorry.
Can I shoot something? I rolled that number too.
Oh, I know. We'll get to it. So yeah, on the other end, she's very angry. You hear, "Ma'am, we got a lock," and you hear her just yelling into the comm to the people to open fire. Kieran didn't roll pilot well enough. Dodge that.
Doesn't
so
she have a
there's-
feat for that?
I don't
Doesn't she
think
have destiny
so.
points?
Technically, yes.
Look, right now you hit us for our hit points worth of hit damage. What can we do to not die in this moment? Because that would be great.
Yes, please.
It wouldn't kill you. It would just disable your ship because you've got shields and damage reduction.
Can Zadu somehow eat like half of that with his ship?
If you would like to spend a destiny point to absorb half of that with the shields on your ship.
Is there
Sure.
any way to like?
I'll spend destiny. Why not?
Is there any way to like use force to make her not do it?
Not really.
I didn't think so. Just
um,
throwing everything out there.
other things that could happen, if somebody wanted to try to use the force to like move your ship out of the way, you could potentially do that.
That's my
Yeah.
cue, you guys. It's
Yeah,
That
my
would be
cue.
really hard.
Best friend, go!
Yeah, let's fold some space here, I think.
Okay.
Let's try at least.
Can I donate a destiny point to her?
No.
Oh well, I'll hold my destiny point in case this does not work.
Okay.
I do have destiny points as well, so it might be okay. All right, so just trying to find the size chart here.
But she thinks it's Pel, right?
Oh yeah, she thinks.
Okay.
Well, worse, she thinks it's Pel's niece. So
We're the
She's-
best.
yeah. So
Well,
she's
that
like,
was our
oh,
job.
oh, good. I get to kill a member of his family and then rub it in his face later.
I'm sorry, someone was accusing me of bringing chaos and drama? Hmm.
No, that's me.
How?
We're paid for this.
What
This
is
was
the
the
size
job.
marker on our ship, Raven?
Colossal, I believe.
Okay.
Let me see if it's on, if I put that on the character sheet. Yes, colossal.
Okay, it's gonna take a hell of a lot to just roll for this, but I'm gonna roll first, and if it's no good, then we can look at using points.
Okay.
Interesting. I'm gonna use a force point.
Okay.
So my DC is 40 on Colossal. Aha! 40.
Awesome.
Holy shit!
So how far does it move?
So on a DC of 40, I can move a colossal or smaller object up to 30 squares.
Yeah, that would probably be just enough. For cinematic, epic storytelling flavor wise, I am going to say that some of the bolts still hit your ship, but your shields managed to soak it up. But you definitely
Well,
get
it
that
wouldn't be
sense of
Star
like
Wars if we didn't get hit with something, right?
exactly. You definitely get that sense of like, oh, we almost just died. But yeah, you managed to fold space and move the ship out of the way. Anaka.
Hell yeah. You're welcome, all of you guys, for not dying. You're welcome.
Luxor wasn't even looking when that happened.
Oh my god. And then
I
there's a
just
little
love
voice.
the.
Go ahead.
Sorry, I was just gonna say I love the mental imagery of just using the force to blink something out of space and then into another spot. It's like, haha, we're here and now we're not. Now you see me, now you don't.
Yeah. What was I saying?
You said a little voice.
Oh yeah, thank you. A little voice in your head, Anaka, goes, "Why haven't you just been doing this the whole time? You already knew how to do that?"
All that gets from her is just like this high-pitched peal of laughter as they pass through the space and avoid that attack.
And good old Hedzuska is just like, "You're a terrible Sith."
Was that an out loud peal of laughter, Anaka?
Sure was. Yeah.
Jai
absolutely.
gets over the comms, goes, Anaka's laughing. We're in a lot of trouble. We gotta go.
And yeah, Kieran's on the other line just yelling out, "No shit!" Less talking, more blasting debris out of the way.
Jai's gonna do that, but Jai's also going to like be sending another message. Like as he's shooting, he's going to send a message to Bevan.
Okay.
Just a tight hyperspace beam. It's like Dalla's whole fleet is at Indoor. She thinks Pell is responsible. We pissed her off about Pell. If you have anything we can throw at her, now's a great time.
Okay.
Basically, just a text, just like, "Hey, Uncle Bevan, help."
Yeah. Ilsa, on the other end, you do hear again. It's like the poorly putting your hand over the phone while you're talking to somebody else in the same room. You just hear, "What do you mean it just blinked out of existence?" "Well, shoot it again."
I'm going to tell my uncle on you.
You're still at the call.
Raid cry, right? Raid cry?
Yeah, gonna tell my uncle on you. Oh goodness. So, you are making some headway, Jai, in your ship. Let me get another pilot check from Kieran, because you're able to blast stuff out of the way. I do need like just an attack roll from you to see how well you're doing. Yeah, pretty good. You're doing a good job of blasting the larger bits of debris out of the way to clear a path. There we go. And I'm going to use one of Kieran's force points for this.
Yay.
Yeah, there we go. So that's a 33. And Kieran's doing some really fancy flying and like... it's like those scenes where the Millennium Falcon's like rolling through stuff and squeaking through spots where it's just like perfectly Millennium Falcon sideways shaped. It's like that. So the two of you are doing pretty good, a pretty good job of getting clear that way. For Muxo and Zadu, I need pilot checks to see how well you're evading the TIE fighters for Muxo and how well you're keeping up for Zadu.
Oh no.
She's deliberately taking risks as well. That's not very high. I kind of want to do something grand because it's 10 after 11.
Yeah.
The finale.
Today's the day.
I'm gonna use a destiny point
Okay.
to do something spectacular. while evading. I want to destroy something medium size. Can I?
Okay. Yeah, that'd be one of those heavy cruisers that I mentioned.
Yeah. I'm gonna
You
throw
get,
everything
like-
at him.
Okay. And
Pull a Jai and just jam some buttons.
okay. Yeah, you your destiny sort of intervenes, and you suddenly you're just the force is with you, and you get a really lucky shot, and you're able to launch those torpedoes off, and you get like, it's not like the Death Star exhaust port type thing, but it's something similar. It's like this one
Like
tiny
set up a
little weak
vibration
spot.
or something. Yeah.
Yeah, it's like one tiny little weak spot that nobody really knows about, and it's impossible to hit, but somehow you hit it. And it just explodes. And you can even like fly straight through the explosion and come out the other end if you want.
Oh, absolutely.
Awesome. And then for Zadu with the 16, unfortunately you're not able to keep up with the ship. And with your okay from this for this par, I will say that you clip one of those pieces of debris and it damages your ship, and you end up having to try to wrestle control of the fighter back, and it's pretty much got you just diving straight towards the moon on an approach for a crash landing.
How can I make that as smooth as possible?
Is this something that you want intervention with, Par, or is this part of Zadu's story?
No, this is fine.
Okay, because the ship technically has a thing.
It's all good.
Part I've been talking about.
Okay.
Something. This is part of a plan. Yeah. So how would you describe Zadu doing all of that? What's going through Zadu's mind as this is happening?
Well, this is unfortunate. And also, I'm so glad I didn't bring a lock. Also thinking, I wonder if there's any ships around, because this is a very bad situation for me.
It is.
Yeah, lots of that going around is wrestling with the controls.
Okay.
Whirling,
Does
spinning, burning.
does Zadu radio back to the rest of the crew?
You know what? Zadu will radio back. So, you remember that you're Locke's new master now, right?
To whom?
I'm assuming it's Muso. This has been a conversation.
Yeah.
Zadu, you don't have to die.
I really don't have much choice. You say that, Zadu's just like, I really can't.
Yeah. She'll try to change course. I'm like, I don't think there's actually anything she can do, but she's going to try.
Okay.
Yeah. I don't accept that answer, Zadu. You're gonna make it.
I reject your reality and substitute my own. Yeah, I need a pilot check from Muxo to try to get there in time to do potentially something, and then also a pilot check from Zadu to see how smooth this landing is going to be with your TIE Defender onto a heavily forested moon.
Okay, Elsa's going to try to do whatever thing that they could possibly do, but since this is not going to work, she's not going to actually get it done.
Okay.
Woodsy just not pay off for me at all.
No, we want to help you, Zadu.
No. Well,
Well,
I could have helped myself with a 13.
Oh goodness.
Would have been better if I not won that.
So I guess can I use the cover of the explosion that I just flew through to lose some
Sure.
some ties, and then
Sure.
try to like clear a landing spot for Zadu if I can catch up with him?
Also with a 26, and since you just came off of a nat 20, yeah, you can like do
I don't want to
turn.
step on Zadu's story here, but if there is
No.
something that can be done, this would probably be what she would try to do.
Okay. I will say that you were able to gun it and kind of attempt to clear out a spot with like a torpedo towards roughly where you think Zadu's going to land. Try to clear out some of those trees. That's about the best you can do. And then Ilsa, were you trying to use the force to...
Yeah, but I'm pretty
Zadu?
sure. Yeah, but I think do I need to roll, or is it just going to fail?
Yeah, it'll fail. It's sort of like a scripted event, but you can describe what you try to do.
She is trying to use the force to move his ship so it doesn't crash.
Okay,
Like kind of like maybe like a force cushion.
gotcha. Okay, yeah, you're able to reach out with the force, and it does help. So Zadu, you are crash landing, but you're not running into a wall of trees, and the impact has been softened by Ilsa. How would you describe how this crash landing goes?
Yeah, I think the cushion works out, nicely enough with that 13. As nicely as it possibly could. What's it like? The speeder chase is in episode 5. Matador? Oh, 6. Yeah.
Return of the Jedi, yeah.
Chase. Yeah, sorry. The speeder chase. So it's sort of something like that. Not as obviously it's a bigger machine, but it's sort of like that where it's like wide turn and then.
All right. I kind of imagine also, even though a lot of the trees were pushed out of the way or blown out of the way, occasionally there's one that gets hit and it rips off a wing. But the camera probably watches just the cockpit part, rolls in and then hits a tree, and then that's when the camera pans away, leaving Zadu's fate uncertain. Anything else you want to add to that before we go back to everybody else?
I think probably a detail I can bring up later, but I think in Zadu's room, he's got those lightsaber parts together with like a little note that just says, it never hurts to have spare parts.
That's really sweet. Okay. All right, then the camera will pan back to the rest of our party. You've just watched Zadu's TIE Defender real hard crash land. And Muxo, some of those Victory class Star Destroyers are starting to come in and sort of block your access to the planet. And it's getting way more dangerous to be here.
She'll just call into the comm directed at Zadu like a couple times, kind of not desperately, but like intently.
Mm-hmm.
And gets no response.
That's what I said.
Question mark?
I love that. I'm assuming, no response.
All right, let's get out of here.
Oh god. All right. Yep. The love that so much. The in chat, Par just said that's what I Zadu. That's so great. All right. Kieran calls out from the cockpit for those in the larger ship, and says, "All right, is everybody with us, or are we doing this thing? I got an open window. I can get us into hyperspace."
Yeah. I'm on my way.
Okay. And Kieran doesn't hesitate. Just as soon as she hears, yeah, she just punches it, and the stars turn into the lines, and the sort of perception warps as you jump into hyperspace. And the moment that your ship leaves that spot and jumps into hyperspace, a bunch of turbo lasers just fly by where it just was. And then Muxo, let's see, yeah. We get one more pilot check from you to jump into hyperspace to follow. Awesome. Same thing. You're able to punch it, and right as you do, a bunch of laser blasts from TIE fighters, just scream through right where you just were, and you manage to get away.
I like to think as soon as she goes into hyperdrive, she kind of turns around, not the direction matters in space, and bigger guns. Yeah.
I love that. All right. And then, I assume that you rendezvous at a spot before you get to Tatooine, so you can pick up Muxo. What's the conversation on the ship as you start heading off to Tatooine?
Muxo is going to emerge from the TIE Defender, kind of give a solemn nod as she climbs down, or however, I don't know how you get onto a TIE Defender, honestly. Let's just say climb down.
Very, very carefully.
yeah. And just gonna dodging the debris that is in the cargo hold.
Oh yeah, it's a mess.
She's gonna just sort of hit the nearest intercom and call for Locke.
Locke comes rolling into the hangar and just looks up at you and goes, "Where is Master?"
I'm your master now, Locke. Sorry.
Just sort of not quite laughs, because Locke's a droid and also a sort of glitchy droid, so it's supposed to be laughter, but it sounds like something from a horror movie. And then just says, "You're not Master. Zadu's Master."
Zadu's dead.
And Locke just sort of stands there and does that awkward offset blinking for a few moments. And then sort of trying to think of how to describe this. They sort of have the crab-like legs, so just sort of lowers down on them a little bit and then slowly walks off back into the ship.
Okay.
Making a sad little electronic noise.
It's very sad. My heart is actually doing a little thing.
Jai's gonna
80s were a
climb.
very good time for sentient droids
Yeah.
in movies. Batteries not included, right up there for me.
This is some brave little toaster feels right now.
Yeah.
Jai's gonna.
D batteries not included in that?
I don't think so.
Oh, ooh.
I don't think I have
Oh,
either,
boy.
but I know the
Oh.
concept.
Oh, it's sad.
Jai's gonna climb down from the turret and is gonna poke his head into the cockpit, where I think is Anaka in the cockpit still with Kieran.
I was uncertain where Naka was during that.
Yeah, probably.
So Jai's gonna poke his head into the cockpit and go, "Good job, good." That's too cheerful. Good job, crew. We can probably take a nap, and then he's gonna go find Ilsa.
Okay.
Ilsa's, I guess, I don't know. Isn't there another little computer area? I don't see the map right. I'm not looking at it right now.
Yeah, there's probably something in the dining room, probably tied to the table.
Yeah. That's what we've established.
So he's gonna walk in there to her and go, like, just sit down next. No, he's gonna go over to the fridge and just like pull out 2 drinks and then like put one down in front of Ilsa and then sit down next to her and just be like, "You did good."
So it'll be like, I'll say thank you, but she's still in her imperial voice.
Jai's gonna like side eye her but not comment on it, and then just like crack the drink open.
She's gonna take a sip, and then she's like typing some angry messages, emails. Like she's just typing angrily.
Oh my god.
This seems fine.
Fantastic. Okay.
I mean, Musa will deliver the news, but like we all know.
Yeah. Yeah, Kieran actually looks to Anaka after Jai pokes his head in. And like genuinely like is sincere and just says, thanks for saving us back there, and I'm sorry about your friend.
Anaka offers Kieran a smile. And it's not the usual, like, I'm just doing this to show you all of my pointy teeth. There's a little bit of that, but that's not like the whole point. And all she says while looking at Kieran is, well, you know, if I hadn't moved the ship, then that would have been my life on the line as well. So you don't really need to say thank you for me saving myself.
Kira just sort of gives you this look of like, right, it was just to save yourself. I secretly know that you wanted to save everybody, but I'm not going to mention it and just accept the fact that you're saying you wanted to save yourself.
Anaka gives her kind of like a raised eyebrow look, like, okay, but like, you know, there just happened to be other people on the ship, but I was also here, so...
Kira was like oh no, yeah, I know, I get it. It's totally just because we just happen to be around you. It's fine.
Anaka drops the smile again and is back to her usual, don't fucking talk to me. And she just turns around and leaves, just doesn't say anything at all.
Kira just gets like a little tiny bit of a lopsided smirk. And it's not like a, haha, I got you. It's just a, like, I enjoyed that interaction. And flips some dials and things on the bridge and is calculating, you know, the next jump and all that stuff. All right. Well, unless there's anything anybody else wants to add, I think that's a good spot to wrap up the session. And the next season, maybe we'll find out what happened to Zadu. We'll or something else. We'll have to wait and see. Before we go on a raid, though, I do want to let everybody say what their favorite part of the session.
Locke's gonna be pissed if Zadu's actually alive.
Who's to say?
Ilsa's still mad either way because she blames the Empire for her friend crashing into a planet, to a moon.
Yep. Excuse me. Yeah, Locke probably does say one last thing to someone at some point, or just to no one in particular, and just like, but Master was the last one I wanted to kill.
It also will say, then we kill the Empire.
That probably cheers like, Locke up a little bit.
Jai just like toasts and pats Locke on the head.
All right. Well, I do want to give everybody a chance to say what their favorite part of the session was, favorite part of the season, and then where we can find them next, and anything they'd like to share or plug before we go on a raid. And I think we've got a raid cry, which is I'm just going to tell my uncle on you. I'll get that into chat for everyone. So we'll go in reverse order from how we started. So, Par, favorite part of the session and season, where can we find you, and anything you want to share or plug?
Howdy, folks. How are you? How's everyone doing? You like that? I enjoyed it. I did. Yeah, Mr. Parr. You can find me here 2 weeks? 1 month? No, 2 weeks. Same time slot for season 2. What's gonna happen? You can also find me on my Twitch, Mr. Parr. You can find me for my personal stuff on Twitter at Mr. Par4E, and you can find me for my more professional stuff at Par Professional. My favorite part of this has to be the my uncle works at Nintendo Energy, that Ilsa just channeled. I feel like we had a very hard time getting these two admirals at each other's throats, but finally in the finale, it was the whole season arc, we finally got it to happen. So it's pretty good. I liked it a lot.
That's great.
Yeah, Anaka just time jumping the ship. Not time jumping, but space jumping the ship. Badass as hell. And just shout out to Dala for having some true Doctor Who energy right there at the end. Some 12th Doctor energy. Nowhere in the universe is safe when I'm angry with you.
It's true. Oh, that's great.
Hey, that's a wrap for me for this season, folks.
All right. Matt, same questions.
Oh boy. My favorite part was Ilsa at the end, pulling out that Imperial voice and talking with Dala and convincing her that she was Pel's niece. Like that was the perfect little button to put on things. That was really, really good. Hi, I'm Matt. You can find me on Twitter at Matt Hoadley. You can find me on this channel one more time this season on Saturday for the Time Traveling Monster of the Week game, where I play the exact opposite of Jai, Special Agent Jason Andrews, who's had a really long day. You can find me over on my Twitch channel, that is Fifth Draw Live, where I'm been streaming Monday, Wednesday, and Friday mornings. You can catch me there tomorrow morning. I have a podcast called Hard Reboot, where me and two friends take a public domain property and give it a fresh coat of paint. And I am now a tour guide with Tour Guide Gaming that's doing internet-based kind of intro RPG sessions for people. So check that out.
Cool. Very cool. All right. Next we got Hope. Favorite part of the session, the season. Where can we find you, and anything you want to share, plug?
Oh boy. I would say my favorite part of the session was the I've already forgotten his name. He's been dead so long. Zadu going to retrieve Jai, just like that whole scene. Very cinematic, I felt like. Of the season, oh boy. I think I still just last session where we just let Ilsa have because like, go get him. That's still my favorite. You can find me at HopeTracy71 on Twitter and on Monday nights on the Ladies Idols channel for Tales of Drahi, where she's gonna get the throne of Drahi. It's fine. That's definitely what's gonna happen, and there aren't any demons who are gonna decide it's their kingdom after all. It's gonna be fine.
Of course not.
The elves are gonna rule. The elves. Yeah.
Good to know. All right, next we've got Nikki. Favorite part of the session season. Where can folks find you? Anything you want to share or plug?
My favorite part of the session was, of course, it was getting Elsa to use her Imperial voice again. And to just like completely channel some brat that she knows and have it work, because that's what they were trying to do all season, is make these two mad at each other.
It's true.
And I actually liked the beginning of the season when Zaru got to fight the guy with all the lightsabers. At the very beginning, it was like all of these lightsabers, and I was just, I don't know, I really liked that. So next season we should have 2 people with a bunch of lightsabers to be all fight. What I always choose chaos. I always choose chaos. You know that. You have to know that by now.
It's always the right decision. I approve wholeheartedly.
Just like lots of lightsabers. Just have a lightsaber like juggling that's going on. Okay, I'm getting too silly. It's like 11:40 p.m.
Yeah. Oh goodness. All right. Where can folks find you, and anything else you want to share or plug? Looks like Zoom froze again. All right, we'll go ahead and oh wait, there it is. Where can folks find you? Anything else you want to share or plug?
Nick Cool on Twitter. No, because I can't think of anything right now. Sorry.
No worries. All right, then we'll hop up to V. Same questions. Favorite part of the session, the season. Where can folks find anything you want to share or plug?
I'm gonna have to go with par on this one. I thought Anaka's folding space was pretty dope. Perhaps I'm a little biased. I was totally ready to use a destiny point if I had to, but I guess the dice just wanted to be nice to me for once. Doesn't happen often, but there it is, I guess. But yeah, in terms of the whole season, I don't know, there's a lot of little things that happened throughout the season from the start that were really fun. From last session, I really liked Anaka waiting outside the door for Ilsa, and then almost accidentally murdering an old woman because she said the wrong words to the wrong person. In one of our earlier shenanigans, when Matt used a destiny point for Jai to jump out of a moving ship just because it looked cool. All the little details were my favorite, I think. And then getting to fight our lovely Saxon friend. And Anaka just taking the piss on it to use her mind trick on him. Which served absolutely no purpose, but it was cool style points. She was like, hell yeah. But yeah, I'm excited to see what happens next season, which I will be here for. And yeah, you can find me on Saturdays for the finale of Animus Absentis, where we've got some interesting choices to make, some arguments to rectify. And we'll see how that goes, because Annie is very, very upset.
Just a little bit.
Just a smidgen.
You don't say.
Top 10 anime betrayals, to be honest with you, but she's had quite a few. I think she's the only one on the ship who has had quite as many top 10 anime betrayals this season. Yeah, Jay, not mentioning. Names. Yeah, absolutely not. It's a mystery to think of what might have happened. But as for me, you can find me on my art Twitter as well, which is at PepperoDrows. That's pepper like the candy. There is some anime stuff up there, some My Hero Academia if you're an anime, different sketches and things like that. I'm working on some original character stuff as well, so that's going to be posted too. But you can check it out there, and then catch me on Saturday.
Awesome. Oh, my favorite part. favorite part of the session. It's really hard to pick a favorite part. I did really enjoy the scene with Zadu and Jai at the tower. That was really neat. Ilsa, you know, uh, playing everything off as Pell's niece was just chef's kiss. Excuse me, all the stuff with Muxo and all the barbs getting traded amongst the characters this time was really funny. And also the really fun flying that Muxo did there at the end. There's some really cool stuff. And Anaka, yeah, folding space was pretty badass. But probably if I had to like narrow it down to one specific moment because it involved everyone, was the ship supposed to have taken 140 damage and you all going like, doesn't Kieran have destiny points? And I'm just like, yes, but no. And just watching everyone's mind race until you came up with a solution on your own, which is what I wanted. It was a lot of fun to just see your reactions and then see you like problem solve that situation. It was really fun.
I love that Muxo was completely unaware of how much danger her crew was in. Like,
yeah.
Why aren't the rest of you out here with me? This is where the fun is.
Yeah, she doesn't know that Elsa like crashed on her way out.
No, all of this was just sort of like, I guess I'm out here by myself. I'm having fun. Trust you.
And I'm glad that Elsa was able to trick Dala, but at the same time, I didn't know she would do so well. It made her so mad.
Oh yeah, Dala gets mad real easy. And then yeah, all the ending with Zadu was also just fantastic.
I feel like the payoff of where did you get those ships was an all season thing because we literally got them the second episode, and I've been waiting for someone to recognize that we did that.
It's great because I think this is the first time you've really come across her and her people since that very beginning. So, but yeah, favorite part of the season. Really hard to pick a favorite part of the season because all the episodes were really, really good. The stuff on Korriban was a lot of fun. Getting the fun little Sith ghost friend for Anaka, and rescuing Kieran and how you all handled the Sith Lord that you came across. And definitely episode 1 or 2 with Zadu being like, I'm gonna duel that person, and me knowing what level they are. And that you weren't even supposed to know they were there. Oh, that was great. But yeah, for Anaka, I think it's been getting to see little bits of Anaka's backstory as the seasons progressed. For Jai, it's definitely been watching Jai grow and be very unhappy that they're growing. Zadu's always wanting to duel and interactions with Locke was great. Seeing Ilsa kind of come out of her shell a little bit around the party has been really fun. And then with Muxo, just the interactions with Bevan has been really fun to watch and do. And then watching Muxo kind of go from kind of carefree to I've got to be a leader. There's a little bit of a character shift there.
What the fuck? All for a man. What the hell?
Yep. Yeah, the whole thing has been
You
great.
better be
I've
worth
really
it.
Yeah. He's not like
I
Boba
know.
Fett, but not quite as not quite as bad as Boba Fett in terms of like interpersonal relationships.
I don't even know what her standard is. It's fine.
I love how unsure you were.
I mean, Bevan's really cool, but as far as like,
See?
like an actual relationship, be it platonic or otherwise, he's not that great at those.
Oh no, but that's not what Muxo's looking for.
Okay, that's good. That's very
No,
good.
it's the big dramatic end of the movie kiss. This is all.
Oh, I see. Yeah.
Everything else is
probably-
work.
You could probably do okay at that.
We just fade to black after.
Yeah.
And we don't know what happened.
Yeah. Everything was great. Where you can find me next, what's today? Thursday. Tomorrow at noon Mountain Time, I'll be back playing Mayor one more time in the finale of Beyond the Wall, where we it's kind of the final showdown between the party and this really creepy angel creature thing that's been like haunting us the entire time. Yeah, I'm excited to go kick his butt finally. Nothing bad will happen. And then Saturday, yeah, we've got Time Travelers at noon, finale for that show, and then the season finale for Animus that night on Saturday as well. And then after that, we'll have a week off, so I can prep for the next season, and then we'll be back with a bunch of new shows. It's going to be a lot of fun. Other things to share or plug, we've got Fundamental RPG. Looks like this. You can pick up a copy at Amazon. Just search for Raven Evermore Fundamental RPG. Should pop right up. Excuse me, we've got 4 shows running on that system next season. And it's a D20 system that empowers GMs and players to tell stories the way they would like to, with a focus on story first and rules second. And it's super flexible. You can run anything from high fantasy to sci-fi and everything in between, as we're going to demonstrate next season, because we've got a high fantasy, we've got a straight up horror game, we've got a surreal horror game, and a sci-fi running on the system next season. It's very cool stuff. And then also Intrepid, which is adventuring gear for real life, athletic and outdoor wear and casual wear, mouse pads, water bottles, coffee mugs, a bunch of cool stuff like that with a tabletop theme. You can find all of that and the digital version of Fundamental RPG at coffee.com/raven/shop, just like it says in the bottom right hand corner of the screen. Just add /shop to the end of that. You can also find character sheets for Fundamental RPG, which are free there as well. They're really cool looking. You can get a form fillable version of a PDF or a printable version, and again, the character sheets are free there. I think that's everything except for... if you want to catch previous episodes of this or other shows on the channel, you can do so at the Fantasy Network. Just go to watch.thefantasy.network. Look for Stream Library and Black Feather Guild, and that's where all of our content will be. So there's a lot of other really cool shows on that... Wow, tongue-tied. A lot of other really cool shows on that network as well, and movies and things like that. You should definitely go check the whole site out. It's very cool. Then yeah, we're gonna go on a raid. We've got our raid cry, which is where did it go? I'm gonna tell my uncle on you. Feel free to copy that right out of chat. I will paste it again in here. There we go. And we're gonna go raid the Dragons and Things Network, another member of the Fantasy Network, on our Twitch team. They've got some really cool content and stuff over there. Give them a follow if you're not doing so already, and say hello. Throw that raid cry out there, and yeah, I will see you all tomorrow. Bye, everybody.